Caching dependencies is usually really easy in CircleCI. It'll run code like this for you behind the scenes with cache keys and package lock.json files. If you simply run a command like this. Usually, you'll just need to find an orb that can install the packages for you, and it will handle caching for you. Orbs are prepackaged YAML for CircleCI, kind of like NPM packages, but for CircleCI. You can search here at circleci.com/developer/orbs for the orb you want. The one we want is right at the top, a node orb, and you can see a lot of these have CircleCI as the vendor at the beginning. They're maintained by CircleCI and certified. So you can have confidence using these as they stand behind them and maintain them. We'll copy and paste this, as this is what we'll be using for the node environment. And often these environment orbs will have an install packages command. And this makes it really easy to cache and restore the cache. You can see we have hundreds of lines of code. This is running for us. It'll handle both NPM and Yarn, and it'll handle caching and restoring the cache. So it runs this behind the scenes, and all we have to do is reference this and then add a command, and it'll run it for us. We'll start by referencing that orb in a new orb stanza. We'll call it node, and then we'll paste what we copied before. And we don't need this patch version, this 0.2, because CircleCI will get the latest patch version if we just leave it with the first two numbers. Now we'll go in, and whenever we have npm CI, we'll replace that with that node orb command, and that's node install packages. So that'll save the cache if there isn't a cache for that specific key, and then it'll restore the cache if that does exist. Now let's get a sanity check that that job will probably pass by going to a VS Code extension called local.ci, which will run this job, lint.js. So we'll run this locally. We won't wait for the whole thing to run. We'll keep working on this, and we'll be able to see if it does pass, but we can see it's now running. So it looks good so far, at least. And you can see the restore cache is there from that orb. We didn't actually add anything referencing restore cache. And we even have bash access while this is running. This is a VS Code extension that I wrote. So you can see who am I shows CircleCI. We're actually inside that container that's running in a bash shell. So we can cd in the project. We can see all those files. We'll let this run and go back to add caching to Composer install. We have Composer install here, but we're not running any caching on our own, so it's pretty inefficient. We'll need a PHP orb for that. So let's go and search for a PHP orb. CircleCI.com/developer/orbs. We'll put in PHP, and luckily there's a CircleCI one. That's a certified orb. We'll copy this and look for an install packages commands, which we see right here. And here's what it's running behind the scenes. So we'll go back and reference that orb as PHP. And then we'll remove that patch version again. And you can see that lint.js job succeeded, so looks good on the node orb that we're using. And then when we're doing Composer install, let's use that orb instead. So we'll reference it with PHP and simply install packages. And let's get a really quick sanity check that that's going to pass. We won't run this whole thing. So beginning of its running, it's checking out the code. And at least the beginning of this job looks good. Now here's an example of caching Gradle, a build tool. This is an Android app, but Gradle can be used in different environments. Like before, we're going to search in /developer/orbs for the orb for Gradle. And luckily we find one that is supported by CircleCI. It's certified. And we see a with cache command. And that'll run a Gradle command and it'll cache Gradle for us in a really declarative way. So let's reference that. And we're going to wrap this run command in that with cache command. So it'll cache this for us. We're going to reference that orb, and I've already referenced it at the top in the orb stanza. So Gradle / with cache. And then that's going to have a stanza with steps, and then steps will have an array, and we'll just indent this under it. Here's the caching CircleCI does in the web app. This is the build job that we added that caching in. You can see it gets the cache checksum from build.gradle. You can see it restores the cache, and the cache was 601 megabytes, which is a pretty large cache. So you get a lot of caching in this in a really easy way. Then it builds the APK for you. This is a great thing about CircleCI in that the caching is usually really declarative for your dependencies. You don't have to know about cache keys or go into the low-level details about the environment like package lock.json, what the arc value is, what the exact machine is. It takes care of it for you and in a really robust way where you're not going to have to bust the cache so you don't get flaky tests. It's a really nice thing that CircleCI sets this up for you to use in a really easy way. Hope this has helped, and hit subscribe for more information about how to run your CI in a really fast and easy way.